Matters, the class designed to empower you to better health through knowledge and education. And I'm your host, Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center. We're located at 138 Canal Street in Pooler Park, that is in Pooler, Georgia. We're in Suite 404 of Building 400. If you want to stop in, that's always a great way to introduce yourself, get to meet me, and I'll probably do a brief evaluation just simply to my curiosity for understanding what's going on with you and what your reason for stopping in is. It's always a pleasure to meet new people and to give them clarity and understanding about their specific health concerns. But people are still a little reticent to come in based upon a wonderful condition known as COVID. People are still battling and dealing with that, so I understand. If you want to call me, you can always call me directly at area code 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. That is my cell phone. I will be the one answering the phone. It's my pleasure to speak to you on the phone. The one thing you can't do with my phone would be to text it. My phone does not receive texts. Therefore, I will never get the attempted add a text, and I will never get back to you simply because I won't receive it. So, but if you want to do the texting type mentality, you can always email me directly at docrick, DOCRICK, at spineboy.com, docrick at spineboy.com. And whether you stop in, whether you call me, or whether you email me, it's my pleasure to help you to better understanding what the concerns that you have regarding your health. This class is called When Your Health Matters. My radio show is called When Your Health Matters. The book that I've written a few years back is also called When Your Health Matters. And it's not up to me when your health matters, it's up to you when your health matters. So today, I would like to talk about a very common condition that people have. It has to do with being overweight, maintaining excess weight above your ideal healthy body mass index, whatever. Apologize for the question, but has anybody ever called you fat? My mom called me fat when I got home from my first semester of college, and she was justified in asking that because I'd always been a string bean growing up as a kid. Was always tall and underweight. When I got home from my first semester of college, I put on 33 pounds in 10 weeks, 33 pounds in 10 weeks. And I walked into the house, climbed up the stairs, walked into the kitchen. My mom was in the kitchen getting things ready for Thanksgiving because I was home for Thanksgiving break. And my mom turned around and she's like, "My God, Rick, you're fat." And that was devastating for me. Devastating for me to hear, devastating for me to deal with emotionally because I'd always been too thin my whole life. And so now here my mom is calling me fat. So after that particular break, I went back to school, and when I wasn't in the library studying pre-med, I was in the library studying nutrition. And I learned about food. I learned about the ins and outs of food and exercise and how to eat more and lose weight, and how to be what the topic of our class today is how to be aerobic and why it's important for you to understand this. Most people who have weight management issues don't have any understanding of how to be aerobic, because if they knew how to be aerobic, they wouldn't have weight management issues. It's kind of that easy. So most people think that if they go to the gym, this was back in the 70s, early 80s, where the gym phenomenon became huge. People were going to the gym, and I remember Jane Fonda, and I remember all the other people were wearing spandex pants with leg warmers and headbands, and had the big poofy hair, and they would do their little aerobic activity exercises, and a lot of people bought into that, and they were sold these tapes and these programs. I remember Richard Simmons came around, and these were all the things that came around way back in the day, and I grew up through all of that. So I've seen the number of misconceptions that people have with regards to being aerobic. And so what people end up doing is they end up overtraining, and they end up creating injuries. and that's because they're not actually being aerobic. So we have two types of exercise. We have aerobic exercise and we have anaerobic exercise. So starting with the anaerobic exercise, since this is the exercise most people do, this is a fast-moving exercise for short bursts of time where you're burning potassium as your primary electrolyte and you're burning sugar for fuel. And you're not producing as much energy as you could. You're actually producing 225% less energy than if you were aerobic. Aerobic exercise is slow moving, constant pace for an extended period of time that uses sodium as its primary electrolyte. It builds health and burns fat for fuel. And if you're burning fat for fuel, you produce 225% more energy than if you were burning sugar for fuel. So the question then becomes okay, Dr. Rick, how do I get my body to burn fat for fuel instead of burning sugar? Well, there's a very specific protocol that you need to go through every single time you're going to work out, okay? And it's okay to lift weights. It's okay to sprint. It's okay to play basketball, to play tennis. It's okay to play any sport that is primarily anaerobic. That helps you improve your fitness or your body's ability to perform physical activity versus health, which is your body's ability to be healthy and everything work the way that it's supposed to. So anaerobic activity supports your fitness. Aerobic activity supports your health, which also translates over to increasing your fitness. So you can learn how to increase your health, increase your fitness, burn fat for fuel, lose weight, and become a lean, mean fighting machine. And the way that we do that is by understanding some parameters specific to you and your current health situation. So for instance, the formula to find out what your upper level of aerobic threshold is you want to take 180 and subtract your age. Now for this example, I'm going to use 50 because 50 seems to be a nice round number. And it's roughly, in the people who are turning 50 or recently turned 50 or don't want to turn 50, that they get a little bit more motivated to do more exercise to make up for lost time than pretty much any other age category. If you haven't started when you were young and continue to do it, chances are you may try to pick it up again in your late 40s, early 50s. So if we take 180 and subtract 50, we get 130. The 130 is the upper heart rate limit that you don't want to exceed in this example. So what's the lower heart rate limit? What's the zone? What's the area that you want to be in? Well, if you subtract 10 from that number, you get 120. So the ideal heart rate for somebody who is 50 years old is between 120 beats per minute and 130 beats per minute. Now, if you have a heart rate monitor, whether it's through your phone or whether you actually have one made by Polar, which has a chest band and a wrist that actually displays what your heart rate is, allows you to set the zone. So the upper zone, if it's above that, it starts to beep. If it's below the lower zone, it continues to beep. So your job is to keep the watch quiet. And as long as you're in your zone, keeping your watch quiet, then after a certain period of time, which we'll get into in a minute, you'll be burning fat for fuel. Now, there's some things that are required, some caveats that go along with this, and this is based upon a person's level of health. Okay? If you're a person who your cardiologist or your general practitioner has said, okay, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have high cholesterol, we're going to give you the appropriate medications, but you need to exercise, and they never give you any parameters as which to exercise and what that actually means. They're talking about aerobic exercise. And so to exercise aerobically, if you have one of those conditions where you're being given medication to take actively, okay, you want to take whatever your upper heart rate number is, and you would subtract 10. So if we were using 130 as the upper heart rate limit, and you have health issues, you're actively being treated for health concerns with prescription medication, maybe you're recovering from an injury, okay? You're going to subtract 10 from that number, making the upper limit 120. Then, of course, you would subtract 10 from that to give you the lower limit, which would be 110. So instead of it being from 120 to 130, if you have an injury that you're recovering from, if you have an active health condition, if you're taking medication, you want to subtract 10 from that upper limit of 130, make it 120, and then an additional 10 from that, making it 110, making your new heart rate zone between 110 and 120. Okay? If you're somebody that's been exercising for the better part of 6 months, you've been doing it consistently, you don't have any injuries, you're not necessarily taking medication, or you're reducing your medication, okay? And instead of subtracting 10, you would subtract 5, okay? So instead of it being 130 minus 10, it would be 130 minus 5, making your upper heart rate limit 125 from our example, and then subtract 10 from that, making it 115. And for that person who has been exercising, who doesn't necessarily have any conditions, they're not really taking any medication, they've been doing it for the better part of 6 months consistently, okay, that person, they want to keep their heart rate between 115 and 125. So the heart rate is increasing because your ability to handle the stress associated with exercising is also improving. Your cardiovascular health, the health of your heart, is improving, okay? If you've been exercising greater than 6 months, you consider yourself a semi-competitive athlete. That doesn't mean that you get paid for it, but maybe you go to activities. I have a good friend of mine who competes in cycling every single weekend. And he goes out and he trains all week long, and then he goes out and competes every weekend on mountain bike courses. I would ask for him, because he's been doing it for, this is, I believe, his 2nd year doing it. So he's been doing it consistently. I would ask him to subtract nothing from his age, the 180 minus his age. So if his age was 50, I would ask him to keep his heart rate between 120 and 130. That would be his target heart rate zone. And if he's somebody that's been doing this consistently without injuries, without falls, he's been making progress, and he's been doing it for greater than a year consistently, then I would ask him to not subtract numbers, not keep the number the same, but I would actually ask him to add 5. Increase the number from 130 to 135, and then subtract 10 from that, making his ideal heart rate between 125 and 135. Okay, because now what you're doing is you've demonstrated that your heart has an ability to work efficiently. Your body's burning fat as a fuel, which we'll get into in a second, and your body's going to be making progress. Your health is going to improve. Your fitness level or ability to perform physical activity is going to improve. You're going to become more efficient. But to do that, you want to get your body to burn fat. Like we said, fat is 225% more energy efficient than sugar. So when you're exercising aerobically and you're burning fat for fuel, you have to do something specific in order to get into the fat burning zone. In order to do that, you have to, the importance of a proper warm-up, you want to gradually increase your resting heart rate from whatever it is when you're resting up to the lower heart rate limit. In this particular example, for somebody that's been exercising consistently and making progress and considers themselves a semi-competitive athlete, okay, you want to get their heart rate over brief 12 to 15 minute period up to 125. And then once you're in that zone, you want to maintain that zone for a minimum of 20 minutes. So we got 15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes, plus another 20 minutes, okay? We're already up to 32 to 35 minutes of working out. And you haven't even started burning fat for fuel yet. It's for every minute after 20 minutes of being in your zone and maintaining that zone that's going to turn you into a fat-burning machine. But because most of our lives are done anaerobically for short bursts, we spend too much time sitting. We don't spend enough time exercising or being active in our daily activities, physically active. We're much more sedentary as a society. Our body isn't used to burning fat for fuel. We're actually storing all of our sugar for as fat, and we become obese. So once you've done the warm-up with the 20 minutes in the proper zone, now your body's actually going to say, oh, you actually want me to start burning fat. If we're going to do this for any extended period, then it makes sense that we should burn fat because we'll be more efficient. We'll keep our heart functioning efficiently, pumping the blood, and everybody will be happy. And so every minute after the 20 minutes of being in your zone, you'll be burning fat as the primary source of fuel. You'll be utilizing your sodium, which will help to regulate your blood pressure in a more normal fashion. You'll be getting your heart rate to start training to build and strengthen your heart so that your heart isn't going to have any issues, no angina, no heart attacks, no heart disease, okay? Doing this on a regular basis is going to eliminate all that, okay? And after you've done it for, let's say, I don't know, 40 minutes, which I think would be ideal, which is ultimately what a person's going to have to work up to over time. Don't jump in the deep end of the pool before you're ready for it. So as you ease your workouts into working out aerobically, maybe the first time you work out, you do a 10-minute warm-up and a 10-minute cool-down. Then you do a 15-minute warm-up with a 15-minute cool-down. Then you do a 15-minute warm-up with 5 minutes of being in your zone and then a 15-minute cool-down. And then you go from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, 10 minutes to 15, 15 to 20. And then once you're conditioned to be doing that, it becomes a no-brainer. Because at the end of the day, when you're done with your first 20 minutes, you're going to feel alive, you're going to feel energized, your body's going to be running real efficiently, you're not going to feel like you're putting out all that much effort, and you're going to want to go longer. And my suggestion is if you can work up to doing an hour in your zone every day or every other day, like 3 days a week, okay, your health is going to skyrocket and your fitness is going to skyrocket. Your aerobic fitness, okay? And then if you want to add on the weightlifting or the playing basketball or tennis or any one of those other anaerobic sports, you can certainly do that. But you can exercise aerobically every day. You should exercise anaerobically every other day. Meaning if you're doing to lift weights, you want to lift weights every other day, unless you split it up to do upper body one day, lower body another day. Then you can potentially do weights every day. But you don't want to work out the same part of your body anaerobically every day. But you can work out aerobically every single day. Now, when's the best time to do this? First thing in the morning. Why is that? Because it sets your metabolism up for the whole day. And if your metabolism is in the right zone of burning fat for fuel and is conditioned to burn fat for fuel, then the food that you eat throughout the day isn't going to contribute to increasing your weight. You're actually going to burn all of it. Okay, you'll even burn some of the excess. And so what ends up happening is you end up eating more, burning fat, and losing weight. And I teach people how to eat more and lose weight. And this is one of those components. So, as a review, 180 minus your age, adjust it for your health, minus 10 if you're taking medication or recovering from a health problem, maybe some kind of surgery, okay? Subtract 5 if you just start working out and you're trying to get off your medication, or maybe you've just got off your medication, or maybe you don't have any major health conditions, but you have never exercised before, okay? Subtract 0 if you've been making good progress and exercising regularly for at least 6 months, and add 5 if you've been doing it for over a year with good progress and steady workouts. That's the formula to find your aerobic zone. And then your job is to do a good 12 to 15 minute warm up, increasing your heart rate to get into the zone, maintaining that zone for more than 20 minutes, preferably for an hour. And then once you're done with your workout and it's time to cool down, then you want to take 12 to 15 minutes to reduce your heart rate back to what it was originally. Now, sometimes people ask me, well, Dr. Rick, what about stretching? Should I ever do stretching? Do I do stretching before a workout? In reality, you don't need to stretch. You don't need to stretch unless you're going to work your muscles out at a length that is different from what you normally do. So the warm up of 12 to 15 minutes is going to get the heat into your muscles because you'll be using them. The blood is going to cause them to expand and they're going to stretch on their own. And then you've set yourself up for an efficient workout because the blood's in your muscles and you're using the muscles appropriately. And then you can just simply get into your workout. The cool down is just as important. Why? Because you don't want the blood to pool in your muscles when you're done working out, because then that leads to lactic acid buildup and sore muscles and creates muscle dysfunctions. And you certainly don't want to do that. So I would ask for you, I've given you a lot of information today. I would ask you to come back and watch this video more than once, maybe even take notes. If you don't want to take notes, you can always call me. If you call me, I'll be happy to give you the same understanding over the phone. But here's the video for you to have a permanent record if you'd like. But if you would like to call, you can call me at area code 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. That is my cell phone. I'll be the one answering the phone. If I don't answer, please leave a message with your phone number. I will be happy to call you back. If you want to text me, please don't text me, but you can email me at docrick@spineboy.com. That's DOCRICK@spineboy.com. Check out our website, which is spineboy.com. Stop into the office at 138 Canal Street in Pooler Park. We're in Suite 404 of Building 400. But whether you stop in, whether you call, whether you email, whether you refer to the website, the weather's nice. This is the time of year to condition and make the greatest health building opportunity for your heart and for your overall health and fitness. So we would want you to exercise aerobically. And I want to thank you for tuning in and staying with this, probably my longest video so far this year. But it is a pretty complex topic, but it's very simple once you understand it. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to ask you to tune back in next week. Same health time, same health station. This is Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center saying, I look forward to supporting you when your health matters.